Good morning. Hi, my name is Dazja Anderson. I am in 5th grade. I am a student at Community School for Creative Education. For my project, I study ancient Egypt. Our class is making an A to Z book. We're informing other kids at our school about ancient Egypt. Our class has been studying ancient Egypt. We made paintings to know about their symbols. We also read articles and listened to stories that were told by my teacher, Ms. Hill. For my project, my letter was X. That means Xbox is spelled for Alexandria. In class, I read lots of different articles. During reading, I highlighted important facts, and then I put the facts in my own words. After that, I had to put it on a research paper. I learned that Alexandria was very famous. Alexandria was one of the 7 wonders. I learned a lot. Now I'm going to tell you about my test scores. I also will tell you about my weakness and my strength as a learner. Then I will tell you about my project. My overall score in reading is 203, which is a few points away from grade level. I love reading, but sometimes the words are too small. I love fiction books because they're easy for me to read. My challenge in reading is informational text. It was very hard to read the articles because it was hard to remember and understand what the author was telling me. I will try to practice informational text. I also will try to check out books from the library. My reading strength is literature because I understand it better. It was easy for me to remember details from a person telling a story than reading an article with facts. This did not affect my project because I could not use my literature skill. Language. My strength in language is editing for mechanics. I am good at remembering to the rules for capitalization and punctuation. I usually don't have many errors to edit. This helped me write my paper. My overall score in language was 200. I can keep trying, and whenever we work, I can ask questions. My challenge in language is planning, organizing, and developing. I got a 189 in this area. When I got ready to write, I had a hard time organizing my cards. Then I used graphic organizers to help me plan what I was going to write. 21st century leadership. The area I want to work on is collaborating productively. I want to work on collaborating because I get frustrated when there's 2 ideas and I want my idea and they want theirs. I can work on compromising by using both ideas in a way. My strength in this area is completing projects effectively. When I was doing my project, I took parts home so I could finish. I took my work home so I could finish typing and also filling out my graphic organizer. I did that because I care about my grade. Now I'm going to tell you about my Alexandria project. What we had to do was make a draft, and I did 2 paragraphs. I did one on the lighthouse, and I did also one on the library. We had to read different articles, and I read about the Great Lighthouse at Alexandria and about the Library of Alexandria. We also had to fill out research sheets, and we also filled them out. First, we had to copy down what was on the article on one paragraph, and then we put the article in our own words on the other side. Then after that, we had to read some more articles to get and understand what the author was telling us. After that, we had got an organizer to put our facts in, and then after we put our facts in, I had to use 2 because I did 2 paragraphs, because I did one on the library and one on the lighthouse. After that, I wrote it all down again, and then I had people correct it. After the students corrected it, I had to type it, and then I passed it out. I passed it out to the students. I passed it out to 3 students, and they corrected it. After they corrected it, I went on my teacher computer, and I put in the mistakes, and I corrected it with the correct mistakes. After I did that, I had to make a border for my project, and I had to cut out what I typed, and I put it on here neatly. And then I also had to draw, and I had to draw my picture, and I did one on the library, and I did one on the lighthouse. After I did that, I had made a title because I knew that wouldn't take as long as the other work, so I did that last. After I did all my other work, I finished by doing cards on all the cards that I read, and I had to do my reading first, so I did reading, and then I had to do my language, and then I had to do 21st century leadership. After that, I had to put all of this stuff neatly on here. After I got it all organized, I had to put it on my board. After that, then I was done. I just had to practice to make sure it was all correct. Any questions?
Thank you. Let's do 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you. May I begin? Thank you for teaching us about the library and the other teacher. And I wanted to know, that was hard to pick both. Why did you choose to pick both rather than just one?
Well, because I wanted to tell about both of them, and I also didn't want to focus on one. I wanted to try to focus on both so that I know about one of them, and then I also will know about the other.
Thank you.
I'm curious as to something you learned doing this project. What would you be able to use in the world today by studying this project?
Well, I would try to understand what they were saying, and I would try to remember about how their world was and how that will affect us.
Can you, I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the library. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of the library?
Well, about the library, they built the first library because it was really important to their culture, and after Alexandria died, they named more places, but I picked the lighthouse and the library because that was very important to me. So about the library, well, it was the first library ever built, and it was a library if it was still here, you would probably see ancient stuff, where there was lots of stuff there. It was really big. And it was you could go there, check out books, and how we have the libraries here, but their library was a little different from ours here. Because in their world, their library was probably different because to check out your books, you probably would have to go on the computer and check it out, or something like that. And here you probably would, here we go to the library and we give them the book and tell them that that's what we want to check out. Any more questions?
Yes. What did you enjoy most in this project?
Well, I enjoyed drawing the art and learning and reading articles and learning about what they were saying, and I was interested in reading the articles because I never knew what Alexandria was until I read the articles and I understand what that means. So yeah, I understand what they were saying.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you get a chance, or will you get a chance to learn about the other letters in the alphabet book that other students are learning about?
Well, how it worked was there was a bag full of different letters, but there was only one. And what we had to do was we had to reach our hand in and pick a letter. My letter was X, and that means X marks the spot for Alexandria. So that's what I did mine on. Other people got like A. They could have picked ancient Egypt or other stuff. Other people got D. They could have did daily life. So that's how I learned about this by the letter I had chose.
And you get a chance to learn what the other students have written about and learned about?
Well, yeah, because before we did this project, we also read other articles, but it wasn't about this project. So I learned a little about mummies and a little about daily life.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yeah. What was the most challenging, the most difficult part of preparing all
Well, the difficult part was when I had to fill out my research sheet because I didn't know how to put it in my own words. It was very hard to put it in my own words because I didn't it was hard because I wanted to say what they were saying, but it sounded too much alike. So it was very hard to just put it in my own words. So it took me like 2 to 3 days to fill out 4 of them, and it was like very, very hard for me to do that.
Thank you.
Like one more question. What did you learn during this project that you'll use maybe in your next project or next year?
Well, what I learned that I might use again was to how their life would have affected us, and also how their world, they had pharaohs and stuff like that, but in different countries their life isn't the same as out here. So I would learn when I do another project or something else like this, I would know that to tell more about what they were doing and stuff like that.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to ask you to step outside for 5 minutes, and you can take Ron with you and your friend, and in 5 minutes we'll call you back.
Okay.
That didn't sound like a good sound.